It's only just 8 months since Artemis, the wheelchair-accessible Expedition Dazcat 52 was launched. Since then, owner Tom has not only learnt the practical side of sailing whilst completing sea trials in Scotland, he and Artemis crew have successfully crossed to Grenada in the Caribbean. I catch up with Tom via Zoom to find out how they're getting on.
So how are you?
Very well, yes, all good. I have my wood burner trying to keep my toes warm right next to me here, and you look very tropical.
I see your scarf. It's not quite like that here. Yeah, no, I'm very much running the air conditioning, trying to keep it cool. So
the aircon's working, is it?
It's definitely working now. I'm not going to tempt fate though. It's working very well. It's working very well.
Tell me about it. You're enjoying life?
Yes, I would say that. Yeah. So we let's see. When did we last speak? Must have been back in Plymouth, I guess.
Yeah, we waved bye-bye and that was it. Artemis gone, and you've been trucking along.
We've done a fair few miles since then. So we left Plymouth. We went down across the Bay of Biscay, which was a little choppy for a part of it. Then we went down to Gibraltar. We spent a little bit of time in the Med, and then popped down to Lanzarote, down to Cape Verde, and then we made the crossing from Cape Verde to here, to Grenada. And we've been here kind of sorting a few bits out. My family have been out for Christmas, getting a couple of friends here. And then tomorrow we're heading out just to go cruise around the island, go and see some of the smaller islands on the north side of Grenada. Mm-hmm. So we'll just be kind of hopping from mooring to mooring, anchorage to anchorage, just having a lovely time. So when we spoke about 15 minutes ago, I was in the middle of buying some fresh vegetables from the people who come in here and set up their stall, all of which is grown kind of nearby. So we're filling up with all of that stuff now, getting ready to head out and continue exploring. We have a plan. The plan is to leave here tomorrow, and we're just going to kind of move around Grenada, around the island. I think in about 2 weeks' time, we'll move a bit further north. So we'll go to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Mm-hmm. There are some beautiful islands there. So I think a few days bouncing around those islands, and then we're just going to gradually make our way north. We'll end up, I think, in Antigua, kind of mid-February. And then after that, we'll push over to the British Virgin Islands, just spend a bit of time there exploring and diving and, taking it easy. And then I guess eventually we'll work our way up to kind of Turks and Caicos. And then we have to find out what's happening with COVID. That kind of informs the next step.
Yeah.
So we're either going to head north, we're going to head southwest, or we're going to head southeast. And that time in April, I think, will be the decision time.
Yeah.
So that gives us plenty of time to get out of the Caribbean before the hurricane season starts.
Yeah.
And then, we'll either be heading out to the Pacific, or we'll be heading down to South America, and it's probably the least likely option because visas are tricky. Maybe we'll go up to the States, but I think hopefully we'll head down to South America. It all rather depends on what the restrictions are for COVID.
Have you had much chat with other cruisers? Have you come across people that have come up from that direction at all and their experiences? No. Okay.
No.
Right.
Everybody here is either based here or has just come across the Atlantic.
Right.
That we've run into so far.
Yeah.
And there are other people who've come down from kind of Puerto Rico, the old American boats. Met lots of people from North America, so Canada and the US, who will kind of head from the north down here, and this is their kind of start point. And then there's all the people. Yeah, then there's all the people that came over either with the Arc Plus or by themselves, as we did, who are kind of using this as the start point to go and head further north to explore the Caribbean. But I've not come across anyone who's come up from Brazil or Venezuela. But we'll see. I just need to keep my eye on what the restrictions are, and we'll go from there, really. And that's part of the adventure, isn't it? Working out how to
Well,
get
yes,
to places.
exactly. It's got an added twist at the moment, but
Yeah.
and has Artemis lived up to all the various conditions and challenges that you've found?
So she's performing very well. Yeah, we've had some cracking sailing. I mean, the trip down from Gibraltar to Lanzarote to Cape Verde was great fun. A real mix of conditions. There's some unbelievably light winds, but we've got so much canvas just on the two foresails that we can just pop them both out goose winged at the same time, and we make some reasonable speed in fairly light winds. And it's a nice easy kind of way of sailing. It's quite forgiving. So you can sustain it for long periods of time. On watches and stuff. And then coming across from Cape Verde, we were so lucky with the weather. We had kind of winds in the kind of 20 to 25 knot range, all behind us, and that lasted for probably all but 2 to 3 days of the crossing. So so we're just kind of pushing along at somewhere between 8 and 12 knots, which is great. So we made the crossing in just under 13 days, which was a little quicker than I thought, and it was an absolute pleasure. All works well. We kind of we had a pretty luxurious crossing, to be honest. We've got all the solar was working well, putting power into the batteries, so we didn't really have to skimp on that. I'd run the water maker for a few hours every day just to keep us all topped up, so everyone was just still regularly showering, and we were cooking well and eating really well, and so yeah, we had a very comfortable crossing. And so all these things that we put in to try and make it as comfortable an expeditionary boat as possible all seem to be working well so far.
That's brilliant. That's really good to hear. And how is it working with things like communication, staying in touch, signal? What are you using?
I mean, we're on my phone now, of course. And in Grenada, I've got a phone plan that has minutes that are abroad. So I'm just, like when you go on holiday at the moment, I'm just using my UK minutes, etc. The internet that we've got on the boat is similar, insofar as it's a UK SIM card at the moment. We're just using the kind of the roaming minutes that are included on that package. We have been to a couple of places where they were outside the zones for my particular plan. So I was presented with a fairly gut-wrenching phone bill a couple of weeks ago, because I hadn't quite realised, but that's my fault. But to be fair, I mean, we've been to a few places that just have Wi-Fi, so that's great. It's all very very well set up. And then when we've been further afield, out of phone signal, well, that's quite nice. Yeah. But in terms of getting kind of weather forecasts and the wind forecasts, I've got a very simple Iridium Go satellite link up. So all I do is I turn that on, connect the phone to it. It takes half an hour to download the information, and then I've got a phone and I shut it down, and that's us. That's what we did across the Atlantic. So we just use the little Iridium Go satellite. Okay.
I was just curious, when I did the Caribbean 600 race, I went to huge lengths getting different local SIM cards to try. I'm not sure it really helped the communication system much.
I think we did that eventually in Cape Verde because it was so expensive not to, but we've not had to do it in Grenada so far. Okay. That may change in different places. Yeah. I guess we'll just have to play that by ear. I think if we need to get a local SIM card, we will. But I always know that whatever happens, I can get the kind of the sailing planning information, the weather and the wind. I mean, I know we were discussing at one point a slightly more, kind of a slightly more powerful connection, or a kind of greater bandwidth connection. But for the amount of money it costs and the amount of extra weight it would have cost and the power requirement, the Iridium is pretty much just a battery-powered box that's about this big, and it's relatively inexpensive compared to the other systems, and it's worked really well for what we need it for. So we're never going to be streaming Netflix in the Atlantic, and the point was not to go and sit in the Atlantic to watch a film.
You don't need Netflix, do you, when you're out there on a beautiful boat? And I see in some of your photos as well that you've seen some great wildlife as well on your travels.
Yeah, very lucky, very lucky. Lots of turtles from Lanzarote down to Cape Verde. It seems to be a migratory route, a kind of fairly consistent current taking them from north to south. Okay. And we're using it too. And so we just be kind of watching the turtles, you know. Nice. But lots of dolphins. We saw a couple of whales on the way down, which is really cool. One particular crew member was pretty eagle-eyed and could just sit on the top of the boat, and every now and again you just hear this shout because he'd spotted a spout. And the binos came out, and we've managed to get a couple of pictures every now and again. Yeah, so that was
nice, really nice. Much better than Netflix, I would say. Yeah. And what about, obviously Artemis is still only 8 months launched, I think. So
7 months, yeah.
Yeah, still early days. And I know that you've had a few conversations with Simon. You've been in touch back and forth with him. How's that working out for you? So if somebody was wanting a multimarine boat, basically, and to sail off,
I know where you're going. So I've certainly found that we've definitely had a few teething problems. As she settles in, things stretch, things they just bed in. So what's been great is I've been able to call up Simon, or I just text him on WhatsApp or send him a picture or something like that, and he'll just tell me what he thinks and then find a solution for it. A good example actually is I had a washer failed on at the top of the forestay, which needed to be replaced, but we found it kind of in two pieces on the roof. So between Simon and I, the guys who put the rig together, we kind of puzzled out what we thought it was. So I just went up the mast, had a bit of a look, and confirmed that was it. So Simon just put a bunch of bits together and sent them out, and I got them yesterday, and it's now fixed. So that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you feel like you've got confidence that Multimarine is there to support you on your journey. We've not just kind of gone, bye Tom, good luck.
Yeah, completely. I know Simon and there's a couple of other guys in the team as well who directly responsible for some of the system stuff, for example. We had just a small component failed, and then between us we just puzzled out what it was, because to start from doing a bit of diagnostic stuff. So just did that on FaceTime and kind of working it through, and solved the problem. Bits got sent out, it's fixed, and that's it really.
Okay. And you kind of like a good puzzle, really, as well, don't you? I rather think.
Well, not too many puzzles.
No.
We've only anyway, so it's been fun.
Yeah, you want to be able to spend more time diving and looking for lobsters and things.
I'd say to someone who's in the fortunate position as I am to be able to take a boat and go and do some sailing. If someone was in that position and not sure whether or not to take the plunge, then I would wholeheartedly recommend it, because it's without wanting to be cliched, it's been a real adventure so far. We've never quite known what we're going to arrive and find. Especially at the moment with COVID and everything, you're never quite sure what the procedures are because they change so frequently. You're never quite sure where they're going to put you or what you're going to find, but that's the whole part of it, isn't it? It's been absolutely fantastic fun so far. So if someone sat there, look on their boat on the side of the dock thinking, should I cast that line off and go, then I'd say absolutely go.
Good.
Yeah.
No regrets at all then?
No.
So have you done much diving?
Yeah. So the last time I got in the water, funny story, somebody who will remain nameless left a wheelchair on the pontoon next to the boat, didn't put the brakes on, and a gust of wind came along and, unbeknownst to anybody, blew the wheelchair into the water. My father came out to get the wheelchair for the person who was using it, and realised that it had gone. And then somebody from across the harbour shouted over, it's like, "Oh, hi, your wheelchair's just gone in the water." So I ended up in the water with my diving gear on, trying to find the wheelchair. And it's very silty here, so the visibility is kind of like this. No, it's all kind of done with fingertips. So anyway, I was looking in completely the wrong place, and I didn't find it. I should point out this was Christmas Day, and
oh no!
we were just about to go and have lunch somewhere that we
and you couldn't, because your wheelchair was sunk.
Well, and I got the call saying my wheelchair's just gone in the sea.
Oh dear.
So tried to find it. We were unsuccessful, sadly, but we would still manage to make the Christmas lunch eventually. They kind of more or less kept everything warm for us. We kind of, they're about to stop serving. And then the next day, we were very lucky to be lent a couple of divers by a chap who had a boat down further down the marina, who was just walking past, and he said, "Oh, I've got a couple of divers on board with me.
Okay.
Maybe they'd come down and give you a hand." So these two very nice guys turned up the next day, and we laid out a kind of search grid and made a plan, and had loads of lines that everyone could follow under the water, so that we were, weren't getting lost and everything. It's so dark down there.
Yeah.
And then anyway, eventually, a couple of hours later, one of the guys came up, jubilant, kind of, "We found the wheelchair." It's like, oh, thank goodness for that.
How far had it travelled, Tom, underwater?
Well, it's about 4 meters deep here, and it managed to get about 4 or 5 meters away from the pontoon. So,
right, okay.
And it was just kind of sat there in the silt.
Yeah.
So we brought it up and covered it in oil, and it's none the worse for the experience.
Brilliant.
We spent 24 hours in the sea.
The unplanned adventures of boating. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
You've told me that you're moving on very soon, but do you know that some of the fastest boats in the world are about to turn up in Grenada?
Yep, that's why I've got to leave.
Okay. Okay. No room in the marina.
Yeah. I'm basically taking one of the berths they need for those guys. I went past it just now. They've set up a kind of welcoming, like a welcome area for them. Yeah, I think the first ones might start coming in late tonight. So yeah. I'm rather, tomorrow I'll wake up and not 10 meters away from me, just there.
Yeah.
There will probably be a couple of these boats.
Yeah.
And then I'm getting right out of the way. I'm going to go and sit on the mooring.
I'm kind of very aware that I'm using up your minutes. Is there anything else that you would like to say?
All I'd say in summary is that it's all very much living up to expectations so far. So we are all on the boat having a really good time, and I'm just really excited about moving on from here, heading north, exploring a bit more, doing a little bit more kind of expeditionary stuff, just finding some beautiful spots and having the adventure that we've been planning for the last half a decade.
Thank you very much, and have an amazing time. Nice to see you looking tanned, healthy, and sporting your multi-hull centre t-shirt. Well done.
Of course,
better than me.
Quick change before we got on the call.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. Cheers, Tom. Take care.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.